it actually doesn't do too well into Lee Sin. You can kick her off her ultimate.
WE ban Graves.
I agree with it.
Yeah, but mostly because it's not going to win.
It's just
Really
weird.
interesting. So it's lost consecutively, and now they are going to ban it away. So Trundle is going to be the next one to go. So Vladimir is up, Ryze is up, Swain is up. Whew!
I love
there are
how
a lot of
teams
champions.
are shifting their denial into the jungle and away from the mid lane. Xiye has been a monster on Vladimir when he gets his hands on it. One of the first in the LPL to pull that champion out and just show how ludicrously broken he can be.
Yeah, damn right.
And looks like he'll get another attempt.
Yeah, it's Elise hovered for now as WE just sifting through the plethora of options that they have as far as those contested first picks. It's
Again,
going to be Maokai and Ryze once again for Snake.
the thing with Vladimir is that he's just so very difficult to trade against, especially if he is low health, just due to the unnatural amounts of HP that he'll get back on his Q. Does mean that he is level dependent for multiple points in that. So Vladimir typically has not a weak laning phase, but a more fragile laning phase until he gets more levels, and then he spikes pretty hard in late game.
Damn right he does.
On the other side, I'm taking
Wow.
Maokai and Ryze in tandem. We've talked about this at length, that Maokai will negate a lot from Ryze. Also helps assist that he's not necessarily taking immediate hard CC in starting fights. So, makes sense that these two would be picked up together.
Well, Condi thinking about going to another sort of control-based jungler for a moment as he switches over to Kindred now. Nami, though, is locked in, and I would have thought that Zero had an opportunity to go towards the Bard this time. Because Jay-Z's Bard was fantastic in game number 1, and Condi going to head back to one of his favorite picks, which is the Lee Sin, and deny it from SofM. I like it.
Anything you can do, I can do better.
Well, can he? Because SofM had a pretty tip-top game number 2.
Condi is almost the Lee Sin player in the LPL. It used to be the only thing. Back when he played on Masters 3, it would be the only time that Masters 3 would find any sort of success.
Well, it reminds me a little bit of Schwan from LGD. If you manage to get that Lee Sin, things look pretty good. But it is going to mean that Snake do manage to get that priority bottom lane. Martin takes away the Ezreal. And Jay-Z now going to hop on to that Karma. Mystic wanting to hop back to the Ashe. I like it.
They need the Ashe. They can't afford to take the Sivir here to balance out the Karma movement speed, simply because they have no hard CC. You're looking at displacement on Lee Sin with his Dragon Rage kick, a soft slow on Vladimir with his pool, bubble, tidal wave, and arrow. That's it.
Yep. Well, currently looking to put 957 on a very different champion here as well. They answered tank with tank last time. The Nautilus left a little to be desired. Actually, oh no, come on. WE.
They need the CC.
They want the CC.
I don't necessarily think they need the damage since they have the Vladimir there.
Well, they are going to lock away the Nautilus. Take 2 on that pick towards the top side of the map. And now SofM's pick to come in. We'll see what he wants to take to the jungle into the Lee Sin this time around. Probably doesn't want to pick the Kindred. And his Dragon Rage kick pretty damn good into that one.
Kindred just
at Nidalee.
offers so much safety for backline dive threat, though, as long as you don't get kicked off of it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing that kills me is, yes, Kindred's seen some nerfs, but her utility against a lot of carry-oriented top laners, like if people really start honing in on that Aurelia, on that Jax, on the likes of Fizz, they get to that backline, Kindred can at least cause some problems back there or give her 80 carries and AP carries a fighting chance. But it is going to be the Nidalee. Does make sense for a player like SofM who's taken full control of early games. That's where Nidalee is really thriving.
Yeah, we'll see whether he can do it one more time here against Condi's Lee Sin, who probably will be looking to get up and amongst it early on. And the fact that Nidalee, after the changes, doesn't necessarily jungle as healthy as she otherwise did, could be an opportunity for Lee Sin to make a move early on. But Condi is going to have to up the tempo massively here in this game. Because once again, I mean, the Lee Sin pick means that you have to do stuff early.
Yeah, the other big thing is the fact that Nidalee doesn't have a level 6 power spike in respect to the likes of Lee Sin. So Condi actually has two options, like you said. Against Nidalee, who doesn't have as healthy as a clear now, he could look to go head-to-head very early, or he could just power farm to level 6 and abuse any sort of 2v2 that she would show up in.
And of course, the other lane that we need to look at here is the mid lane. The fact that Vladimir has made it through, but it's into the Ryze. Another super power pick. As far as like even lane matchups are concerned, you've sort of got the poor man's Maokai towards the top lane in that Nautilus now that he's taken a little bit of a hit. And then the power pick of the Vladimir into the Ryze there as well. And we'll see who's going to win out as coaches shake hands. It's getting game number 3 in our final match of the night. Thank you, 957. And as we can see, WE now back on the blue side. Condi has picked away the Lee Sin from SofM. We'll see whether he can have as good a game on what was his comfort champion for so long. They're already mixing it up. I like it. Different skin choice.
The gauntlet has been thrown on the Lee Sin mechanics. Condi himself not too bad on the old Lee Sin pick.
Damn right he ain't.
Very good at finding those late game kicks that can make or break team fights.
And I mean, this is where WE want to fight as well. I mean, if they're going to get to the point where make or break kicks are going to be what get them in there, like their flip a coin style in the team fight will definitely hinge on Condi.
The one arrow, the one kick, the late game Vladimir. Welcome to Team WE's classic composition.
The whole world on one arrow. Or at least the whole series.
So, let's break down the comps and kind of where the pressure is going to be, especially as we're looking at two very early game performing junglers. In the case of Ezreal and Karma, Karma's there to help augment Ezreal's lack of wave clear, kind of even things out. It's a very self-sufficient bottom lane. You have great poke and chip potential out of the Ezreal and Karma queue, but otherwise Jiezou and Martin should be totally fine to be left on their own devices, especially across from the likes of a sustain Ashe lane.
Yeah.
So I suspect that SofM pressure will actually be on him to perform in the top lane first, just because Maokai is going to give him the most immediate kill threat. And he has to hit it early if he wants to kill 957. But the twisted advance into a spear, although both junglers starting top side first.
Yeah, it looks like it is going to be Condi making his way immediately over to this red buff. See whether SofM actually going to ignore it for now, heading straight to the Raptors.
We talked about some of SofM's pathing, making him a bit predictable, but like you said, I like the counterplay here to have the ward, so SofM knows what's happening. Here comes Maokai. Yeah,
already moving over. Is Condi just going to break away from this one? Level 2 has been hit by SofM, of course, as tank. Fighting against xiye right now, but Crimson Rush, man, you cannot out-trade that.
And this is what xiye does. He abuses Vladimir very early, much earlier than other Vlads does, because he has the confidence to do it, but exactly what we just saw there. Runs past the caster creeps, waits until Ryze has thrown down the damage so he's less health, and then gets even more back off of his Q with the Crimson Rush.
Playing with his health bar quite nicely.
It's just real cute. And likewise, it'll also chip down Ryze, not only because you're taking health, but more importantly because Vladimir is a cooldown-based champion since he doesn't have a mana resource bar. Whereas Ryze won't be able to continuously do that with spells. He'll eventually run out of mana.
We can see Mystic playing it out this lane quite nicely as well, as Condi already onto his red buff. Does have the smite in order to lock that one up. As SofM, he's on his second buff as well. Oh, actually blue buff not taken here from Condi early on. So we'll see whether he's actually going to loop back around, grab the Raptor camp, blue buff, and then head towards the Rift Scuttler in top lane. See whether he can try and get Frandre down.
Does need to take his red buff if he walks into river, so he'll have some sort of kill pressure or kill threat by having that.
Yeah, nice cue to come in from Jiezou, continuing to try and chip down that wave. Help Martin out. Once again, back on the Ashe. Mystic looking quite comfortable. His Tycaller's Blessing is sitting on top of him now, but not going to be able to use it to slow down the Ezreal at all. 957, pretty happy this time around up the top side. going to have Riptide in order to clear out this minion wave. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. And Titan's Wrath for the AoE. I like it a lot. But Frandre is kept right back up in the CS after that early roam.
Should be noted that SofM's on top side of the map on his Krugs right now. See if he possibly looks for the gank. Probably hop over past his Raptor camp and then take the Rift Scuddler.
We'll see whether Condi recognizes the fact that that ward that was put down by Frandre was very deep. Whether he can actually get his way around it. Of course, a safeguard to a ward over that brush in the river could be an option, but heads over to the Wolves. And it's just Condi power farming right now as SofM looking to try and grab xiye, but pull just going to be used. xiye just going to wander out of the way. Takes a red buff for his trouble. It isn't too worried.
Yeah, it was cut out by the ramp ward there as he'll now run into Condi. Condi at a health deficit. Needs
And
to
a
be
level deficit as
very
well.
respectful.
As Raptor Sensei is going to proc there as the Empowered Q did fly forward, but WE still quite healthy. The first dragon is going to be the Mountain, as SofM was in that pit.
His bot lane did a good job pushing forward, covering for him, so SofM.
SFOM.
Oh, gosh. The abbreviations. PYL, STYZ, SofM, ZZR.
SMLZ.
Oh, no.
MLXG. They're everywhere. 957.
Spicy hot pot. My favorite is 957.
I know. I don't even understand what it is supposed to do. But SofM now going back to base.
I was going to say, it was a good job on SofM that his bot lane is playing around him really well.
Yeah.
The fact that he went for the invade, they push forward, and he's actually even timing his backs well with his bot lane. Karma's back, Jiezou interrupted. But it's actually very important to back with your support, your jungler, to time that well, especially if you guys want to invade together and place down vision. Obviously, SofM is rushing towards his Krug camp, which he religiously times.
Mm-hmm. Loves him some Krugs. He's going to get up there. Does have an Amp Tome as well as that Hunter's Potion, keeping himself as healthy as possible. Refillable already done here from Condi as he's got a long sword. So relatively even as far as items are concerned, but Condi getting slightly out-jungled as far as tempo with the amount of extra camps that SofM has been able to take.
He's against the Nidalee, but here we go. This is, again, why it's so important that you're supporting your jungler back together. We now have Jiezou and SofM holding hands, and they're going for a dual invade into Condi's jungler. They will find him. Frandre is coming along for the party.
Yeah, and Condi actually probably looking for a smite here onto the big wolf. As Jiezou is going to be able to snare him up. There's the Mantrid Q to come down at the same time. SofM now trying to steal this one away. Nice Q's going to land as Condi not going to opt into it. She's going to lose a wolf camp and just say, well, that's not that bad, and move away. WE currently about 300 gold behind, just based off farm. But it's not towards the top side, which is very important.
What's important is how much attention Condi is receiving from Snake.
Yeah.
They're using so many resources. Look at his jungle. So many wards set up to figure out where this guy is. He's actually slightly behind in experience. He's now level 6, but previously, whereas Nidalee had 6, he only had 5. So falling behind, and like you said, in that tempo, 28 to 38, but constantly having tabs kept on him.
Yeah. Ward going to be pinged out. Here's WE. Notice one dying. Raptor camp now going to fall down, but Mystic and Zero probably pretty happy here in this lane.
It is very important, though, that Mystic is about to get level 6. Again, the kill threat from an Ashe lane at level 6. Pretty obvious. Have a giant arrow.
Yep. Going to throw it into you. And just going to hold this mini wave back as well, as the Hawkshot is going to fly past. Just wants to keep tabs on that Dragon Pit. SofM looking to try and finish off his red buff. Nice work, Hawkshot. Understanding exactly where SofM is.
Yep, that's the key thing, is making sure that anytime the hawk shot's up, that you're throwing it towards the enemy jungle. We saw Prey pretty much set the standard for this at Worlds 2015 when he was a big Ashe proponent.
Yep.
Actually very interesting how it changed the vision patterns for Ku. So continue to watch how Mystic will use Hawkshot to keep tabs on this Nidalee.
Xiye as well, farming out quite nicely, but tank ahead at the moment. The Ryze doing very, very well. Catalyst and the tier already completed. As it looks like GA is going towards the Spirit Visage.
And that says it all. The first hawk shot was aimed at the enemy jungler. The second hawk shot was aimed at his own jungle.
Yep.
They immediately know, there goes your red buff. I'm sorry, we can't help you.
No, doesn't look like very many people can. SofM is farming like an absolute beast. This is the denial potential out of this Nidalee as well. If you are able to get yourself around the map, get yourself into the enemy jungle, as now Tank is going to get delivered a blue buff. SofM prepares that one nicely. Tank easily takes that one away. Xiye is going to follow this wave into the mid lane and then head up towards the Raptor camp, which definitely won't be there, man. This is a Nidalee.
Still all quiet, however.
Yeah.
No one making any aggressive move with one way or the other. Makes sense. You got two mid laners that are going to hyperscale into the late game. You have two big tank potatoes up in the top lane.
Just potatoing at one another.
And you have utility-based AD carries. Ashe, obviously, through her initial kit. Ezreal through his build path.
Yeah, and Snake actually with an ever-growing lead.
Just organically gained through the jungle. Although they have expended a lot of that gold in terms of their vision, although most of it has been Sightstone and Tracker-related. That's rude.
Yeah, you can see xiye hanging out here. But WE probably happy to scale. This Tank just wants to clear out this minion wave as quickly as possible. Does so quite nicely. Xiye, of course, will be able to do the same thing with that Tides of Blood. Now SofM has his mid laner with him as Xiye deals with a minion wave. And now Condi with an opportunity to get in on the bottom side of the map.
Again, arrows up. There's no vision in these bushes, as well as Condi has been spotted out. Excuse me, SofM has been spotted out on the top side of the map. So Condi knows that this will not be a 3v3, that it will be a 2v3.
And he also knows that he's losing the majority of his jungle. As the arrow flies forward, it hits Jiezou, but I don't think they're going to be able to get up there. Arcane Shift was used. Condi still unseen. As there's the kick flash, Martin in trouble. He gets knocked up, and Condi, first blood off his first gank. That was executed beautifully.
So well executed, because Martin and Jiezou absolutely knew that Condi was on the bottom side. Martin even cheekily trying to catch him in the brush with a Mystic Shot, blind. Does manage to nicely dodge out the arrow, but good flash Dragon Rage.
Yep, another Rune Prison here in the mid lane as Crimson Rush from xiye says, I actually don't care about any of your damage.
I believe he winds up the animation and then flashes in between.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a kick flash. It's beautiful.
One of the nice things about it is you can start the kick and then you can flash and it repositions. That said, it will be the outer tower down on the bot side. SofM, you think you can do this?
Yeah, that's it's going to be optimistic as the dragon continues to pummel the little kitty lady. And thank you for the leash, says WE, as they pick up this first dragon, which will be a mountain. Condi will be able to lock this one down. SofM still hanging around, wanting to try and get in there.
Got the stronger smite. So they do manage to take it away. Good news, Mountain Dragon, like you said. Important, into a double mountain. But I feel like Condi just got frustrated. His jungle's getting taken. He's getting run around the map by the Nidalee. Can't do anything. Screw it. Ganking bot lane.
Yeah.
Arrow misses, doesn't matter. Going in.
Well, it also sort of gives Snake a false sense of security if that arrow is down. Unfortunately for Snake, Condi was still there. Kick now back available one more time. Hasn't been back to base just yet as he's taking his Krogs before he will do that. Frandre moving towards the bottom side. The switch has come out. SofM is just continuing to dominate the jungle.
They need to be super careful, though, especially for the distance between Zero and Mystic right now. Yeah, respecting Snake heavily right here, backing off the tower, making sure that they can't be dove.
Yeah, they understand that Frandre as well. He's really far back, can teleport in when he needs to. Nautilus a little bit stronger as far as items are concerned right now with that Spirit Visage completed. But with this extra tower, Snake are going to be able to pick up. Probably going to be feeling good. Wow, okay, it doesn't fall down just yet. But next wave, it will be going.
Yeah, should be noted again, speaking of towers, that Team WE do have a tower advantage, and the gold is tied. A lot of that in the jungle position. Again, 81 to 55. Those camps mean so much more than lane creeps. So SofM pretty much keeping his team dead even as far as gold is concerned.
Yeah, and also, if you're talking about that kill advantage that WE do have after picking up first blood onto Condi, and that's an extra 400 gold, which, you're exactly right, means absolutely nothing, as SofM has just been farming so well. Jiezou, oh my god, how did that back even happen? As xiye trading the Tides of Blood with Tank. Crimson Rush is going to be back up. Wants to throw one down. There it is. SofM gives him all of his health back.
There is a bit of a concern, however, with Nidalee, is that as the game goes later and later, she loses a lot of her relevance outside of becoming kind of like a siege bot or a heal bot.
Yep.
I'm going to say bruisey, tanky support.
Something like that.
Versus Condi, who come really late game, has such a high priority to change things with a good knockback.
Yeah, that kick is going to be very, very important. And WE actually already making their way towards that late game security with the Dragon control that they have managed to put out. Mountain Drake is going to be very important if they do want to be able to lock down things like the Baron buff. She'll be up in 5 seconds. There's the ultimate, actually. SofM getting locked up here as the 957's getting dove underneath his tower. Turret on SofM. Not exactly the target they really want here. Is the arrow not going to find anyone? 957 gets the grasp of the Undying. The spear is not going to land as the flash comes out. SofM is able to lock down the kill as Frandre tanks up the rest of that turret. They were just so tanky. Wasn't a lot they could do as now Zero is going to make his way over. SofM has to be careful. The arrow, of course, not available. Mystic is going to make it here to at least defend the turret.
So, good news, SofM got the kill. Bad news, not executed as cleanly as it should have been. 957 actually played that very well. If the arrow had hit, possibly would have traded even, or even come out ahead.
Yep. Condi now trying to defend this turret, but he's not going to be able to. Martin clears that one out very quickly.
And best news is that since Mystic and Zero were rushing down to assist Nautilus, it means that no one is able to defend top lane. So in the end, Snake do reacquire their gold lead.
Yeah, they do. So close to that 1,000 gold mark is SofM now going to head back to base. Rod of Ages already completed here from Tank. Does have himself some Merc Treads as well. Just extra magic resist. Keep himself safe. Spirit Visage is done from xiye. And he's just going to be a monster.
He can't do anything. He's an unmovable object.
Yep.
Just gonna sit there. Gonna heal.
Just do xiye things.
Just Vlad things.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fun champion.
Next dragon is going to be another mountain. As WE have the opportunity to grab that potentially. It's up in another 2 minutes. As WE move towards the mid lane. Mystic just going to clear this one out. They know the fact that Tank did go back to base. So a lot of that wave clear is going to be missing. That is something that Snake don't have a lot of, is on-demand wave clear. Is Ryze relatively low range, but does make it back. Pops the ultimate, clears things out. Condi continuing to try and counter jungle where he can. SofM though, Krug camps. I love me some Krug camps.
Well, he's also shadowing where Martin's going to be applying pressure, which will be the bottom side of the map. So not only is he taking the Krug camps, he's also deboarding on Snake's jungle and setting up for this outer bot.
Krug camps.
Yeah, it's all about the Krugs.
I have a feeling it's all about the Krugs too. It's Mystic. Building very similarly to last time around. See whether he finishes the Infinity Edge relatively soon. They are going to be able to take down this turret, continuing that lead as far as turrets are concerned, but xiye.
Oh my god.
Martin taking so much damage. Doesn't even put down the Hemo Plague as he flashes, picks up the kill mid-pool. That was so aggressive. xiye just knows what he can accomplish with this champion.
Well, there's also nothing Nidalee can do to stop him, especially when Ezreal Arcane Shifts flashes out of heal range.
Jesus.
And then just gets run down by Vladimir.
That was insane amounts of aggression from xiye. Every summoner spell. It's just like, I want to kill Ezreal. And does it. As now they're able to push up to this turret. Mystic's here, arrow at the ready. SofM over to the side. It's already taken half of its health bar. Mystic takes about a bajillion damage from I don't even know what. That was a spear over from the side. SofM with his Rod of Ages already stacking. And Dragon now going to spawn. Condi is going to be available. 957 looking for a teleport. Just backed. Has all of his items that he wants. And WE going to see that that Dragon has been pulled out.
Frandre is resetting his position on the map, also looking for a teleport. So we're about to have a 5v5 where Frandre could get there first. Here he comes.
Yeah, teleport is going to come in. 957 still walking over. Condi decides not to follow that Sonic Wave in, and it's going to be a Mountain Drake apiece for both teams. Nice bubble. Lands on Frandre. Not going to mean too much. As SofM once again clearing things out.
They did manage to get the TP out of Frandre for that, so there is a window where Team WE do have more global map presence.
We'll see whether they can actually utilize it. They have taken the gold lead, given the fact that they've taken 3 towers now. Every outer has now been taken. xiye, not a whole lot of cares in the world right now. Still has the opportunity to Hextech Revolver someone.
But this is a concern, is that now that xiye is at this point and he's in these side lanes, especially itemizing into MR first, Ezreal's going to be doing mixed damage. Ryze, obviously magic damage, Maokai magic damage, Nidalee magic damage, is that he can continuously push this and no one can really stop him in terms of a duel, which means that at some point Snake will have to dedicate more resources towards him, which then leaves their map exposed.
I want 957 to build a Wit's End. Give him some dueling potential.
The classic Wit's End Nautilus.
Mm-hmm. I used to build it all the time before it was even a good item. Still probably not considered a good item.
Oh, it's decent on Aurelia.
Yeah, I like it on Aurelia. No one's built it yet. Spirit Visage, too damn good. Oh, well, we may have our time in the sun yet, as SofM takes himself the Rift Scuttler. They have complete vision around this Baron area that just spawned, both teams, with the Mountain Drake assistance. Blue buff now going to be taken here from Condi. We'll see whether SofM is going to be able to offer anything, as xiye, a little bit far up, Mystic's here. And as far as setup is concerned, WE pretty capable of starting a fight if they want to. 957 can flank, use his ultimate. Mystic can throw an arrow at someone. And of course, Zero can start things with his tidal wave, not to mention Condi getting in there with all of his mobility, kicking someone back.
Just very interesting that they're prioritizing having Vladimir there for team fights. Obviously, his Hemoplague does wonders for a 5v5 scenario.
Oh yeah.
Because he's amplifying everyone else's damage as well.
Especially if you've got a Hurricane user as your AD carry.
Yeah, but it's the choice of matching up 957 across from the split pushing Ryze versus the Vladimir. So we talked about how no one can really kill Vlad right now. He has a lot of dueling potential, a lot of safety in these lanes. But the fact that Team WE want to look for that arrow, that the possibility of team fighting still excites them, that they move xiye there as opposed to the Nautilus.
Well, WE still holding on to this gold lead. Still playing things out very slowly, methodically. Standard WE. Martin picking up the minion wave as it crashes towards him. Slight advantage for Mystic as far as that CS is concerned. Condi has gone for the second item, Mora Malmortius. Understandable here. We'll see whether he continues to build damage on the Lee Sin, keep himself relevant.
He needs to be so careful right now. SofM could get caught by an arrow.
Oh, Condi as well, waiting around here. xiye pushing up very effectively. Just wants another Crimson Rush. There it is, and Frandre gonna get a bit of the blood sucked out. And CWE standing on top of a ward.
Trying to stagger their backs in between the crashing creep wave and get back in position, full health and new items.
But ebb and flow here. WE will have a lot of time underneath this turret. Nice Q is going to land there onto Frandre as xiye continues to clear out minion waves. They're not going to make any headway here at all as Tank. He's got the teleport if they so need it. 957 is on clear duty towards the mid lane, so at least WE are pushing somewhere else. The ping's now down. Nautilus moves towards the bottom lane. WE are going to start Baron.
No response yet from Snake. SofM actually, I think he's got an inkling now. Yep, blue trinket.
Yeah, it is going to come in. This Baron buff down to about half health.
There's
As
one
now
TP,
the
here's
teleport's
two.
coming in. Yeah, there's the arrow onto SofM. The tidal wave to follow through as well as Frandre. Already right into the front line, but Tank is going to get knocked up into the air. Mystic in trouble as Martin has already taken down Condi. Mystic doing so much damage from the backline though as already Tank's fallen down. xiye still alive somehow in the backline. Finally falls, but you can see all of the AoE damage has come in. Snake, however, just turn around the team fight. The fact that Maokai was nullifying all the damage for so long was beautiful out of Snake. And they'll just pick up a Baron.
Yeah, Team WE, they try to be proactive, they try to be aggressive, and it totally backfires. Huge swing of power back in Snake's court.
And if they're able to lock down this Baron buff, now they can start pushing down turrets of their own and creating a massive lead. Let's have a look at this again.
Okay, so first and foremost, a lot of CC. 2 ultimates are actually used on the Nidalee, the Nami ultimate, as well as the arrow. So much burned on SofM, even the Dragon Rage, so now 3, which means that Tank gets to freely just run in and start crushing down on Mystic. Mystic initially does a good job repositioning himself, but like you said, Frandre has been sitting on so many members and denying so much damage for so long, as well as zoning out the AD carry, that the rest of Snake just mow through Team WE's front line.
Yeah. And now they're going to be able to pick up some turrets here as well. You can see the damage. Martin actually doing a whole host of work.
He gets to do that when he's got a massive front line like the Maokai, putting his back into it.
Yeah, not to mention tank there as well. He did like no damage, but he created a target on himself. Really did make things work. Hemoplague almost back up here for xiye, but 2 turrets immediately falling in favor of Snake. And this gold lead is honestly skyrocketing.
In complete control of the map. Let's see how much damage they can do with this Baron. You can bet, though, that Team W will not make another mistake by allocating so many ultimates to a single member and not deleting them instantaneously.
Yeah. 957 pushing up, but you can see this massive creep wave. Nice bubble comes in. There's the arrow onto Jiezou. This has started off the fight as xiye has to pull very, very early. Condi can't quite find his way in as the depth charge is used towards the back line. No one quite falling just yet. Condi does get the kick onto Frandre. There's xiye picking up the kill. Uses the dash cannon as well to grab it. Very cute stuff as xiye now back on completely full health. Tank running for the hills. Double kill comes in for the Vladimir. Xiye chasing after the members of Snake. Holds onto his ghost there as well, as SofM just didn't want any of that fight.
An immediate turnaround. That said, Snake were sitting on some global gold, so will be stronger next time around. But the difference between using 3 or 4 ultimates on a single member, being the Nidalee, versus using your ultimates on the correct targets, kicking out the Maokai.
I like it. Condi actually not going to try and contest this dragon, as SofM will be able to lock down another one for Team Snake. The next Baron will be very easy to take, so 3rd Mountain Drake of the game is going to be followed by a Cloud Drake for dragon number 4. And then I believe Elder Drake will be coming in after that.
So unfortunately not able to acquire all 3 Mountain Drakes due to the 3's a crowd.
Yeah. Unfortunate. WE, of course, lucky to grab that first one because Snake have had control of the map since then.
As well as the Baron pit.
Yeah, damn right. Abyssal Scepter now done for xiye though, so 20% CDR. 30%, sorry.
Huge props to Snake though. You know, before SofM still having ZZR, a big issue is that they came out of the LSPL. They have this identity as kind of a 5v5 team with the likes of Baka and Beast still on the roster. Yeah. And then over time, as their roster makes these iterations between tank, they start to lose this identity of their team fighting. And they just have to almost resort entirely back to lane swaps. He's fine.
Yeah, cool. Jiezou going to get hit by an arrow from very long range.
But now in this game, you know, with the addition of SofM, with Frandre kind of cooling his head a bit, having a very up and down roller coaster performance throughout the LPL, maybe slumping a bit, they're now able to team fight quite effectively against the likes of Team WE, one of the better team fighting teams in the LPL. So huge developmental steps for the likes of Snake and in the right direction.
Yeah, and they also understand their draft so incredibly well. I mean, they made the decision to go with the Maokai and the Ryze very, very quickly, understanding that there was no Trundle on the board. They gave away the Vladimir. They understood that that pick was going to go over to xiye. But they also know that Tank, very comfortable on the Ryze. Lissandra and Ryze have been the champions that he's been able to win games with, partly because Ryze is just so incredibly strong at the moment. And I just like it, the fact that Snake very confident in how they've been playing out the last 2 games in this series, and once again, in control. 4,000 gold in the lead.
See if they can keep that momentum and steam, as we're still in a very tight game, although they do have about a 4K gold lead. Especially as SofM starts to drop off in terms of his carry potential.
Yep. Of course, a lot of the engagements have been Snake answering WE and what they've been trying to throw down. We'll see whether Snake can actually get any engages on their own terms. Lots of disengage potential out of WE and lots of kite back as well as available with the likes of Vladimir, with the likes of Ashe.
Nami.
Namos. Condi as well, pretty good.
Pretty much the disengage support.
Mm-hmm. You more disengagey than Janna, you reckon?
She's like long range disengage, whereas Janna's like immediate reset.
Yep.
How about that?
She's get off my face. Whereas Nami's like, go up into the sky for a bit.
You just see that rolling wave, you're like, great. I just gotta stand to the side and wait for it to pass.
And they are definitely going to be able to get out. But we did see, you know, Game Talents did this before. They had a Vladimir. The game got to late game, and they won.
And
didn't matter.
xiye is still very big, very powerful, and doing lots of damage, as long as Maokai isn't there to affect him.
Also now with potentially 45 cooldown reduction as well, as he just doesn't care. Just walks at people. Oh, Crimson Rush going to wear off. Sad.
They really haven't been abusing xiye in split lanes enough, though. Constantly keeping him with the team, making sure that he's there to augment fights. Yep. I understand it. Obviously, it's how Hemoplague works, but I feel like there's a bit of a missed opportunity from Team WE to try to create picks with the arrow by using xiye in a side lane for bait, or just naturally letting him win it.
Mystic now going to go back to base as well. We'll see what he decides to pick up as his third item. Does already have the Infinity Edge and the Renan's Hurricane. We'll see whether he goes once again for something like the Rapid Fire Cannon, which he did pick up last time. It's going to be the last Whisper, so wants to make sure that he can keep Frandre at bay. Of course, possible Zonya's Hourglass to come in from SofM and tank, meaning that we'll need to cut through a bit more armor. See what he's going to be able to get done.
He's been doing his best. Mystic is actually a pretty good team fighting AD carry. His positioning is very conservative. He's very... what's the word to use? He's very aware.
Yeah. Also quite safe as well here, as you saw, just playing very far back from Martin.
It's that fine line between putting yourself in a certain death by looking for opportunities to hard carry a bit more versus making sure that you're putting out the sustained damage and executing what your team needs from you, at least at a minimum.
Yeah.
And I feel like Mystic, he treads it fairly well. Not as well as, say, someone like Deft, but...
Oh, True Barrage almost manages to steal the red buff. Baron buff is back available, though. We're back into the game. As Snake probably looking to try and find their way in there. You can see WE with sole vision of the pit, though, have been able to create themselves a little bit more, I guess, control over the top side of the map, which is definitely a good thing.
Vision's incredibly important for their pick ability on that Ashe arrow, but they are going to go ahead and start this. There's one blue trinket.
There are 2 teleports available as well. Frandre doesn't need it as he just throws a sapling into the pit. He's right here. Can get into the backline if he wants to, but you can see this Baron going down very, very low. Martin throwing some skill shots over to the side, but you can see this Baron. SofM able to steal it away, pounces his way back over the wall again as well, as Tank right in amongst the middle of this fight. Frandre gets kicked out, but Martin already takes down 957. WE running for the hills. Martin picks up a double kill as Mystic falls down. The dash cannon comes in, but the Vladimir is dead. That's a triple kill already. SofM able to lock down one on the back end. That's going to be the ace, and Baron buff going to Snake. They might be able to push through. Tank already teleporting to the mid lane. That
is a quadra kill as well for the Ezreal right there. And I don't know what Team WE were thinking. Condi is level 14 compared to SofM's level 17. He is a much stronger smite. Easily just walks up to the back of that pit. I mean, it's good that the team collectively is making the decision to stay on the objective rather than splitting their damage, but it allows Snake to get such a good flank on them. Frandre, again, getting to that backline right on Mystic's face and tying up so much damage from the carries, and there's no one to assist xiye as he's trying to run over Snake.
Just ridiculous. SofM as well, there with the perfect swipe. And Zero going to die for the Quadra, so Martin able to lock down so much. And his Ezreal has improved considerably of late. Of course, not arcane shifting out of Lambs of Splites, things like that. But look at his damage. There's 8,000 in the one team fight.
So Martin and Crystal have had a long history of being rotating AD carries between Snake. Crystal has more of a reputation of kind of being that hard carry-oriented player. A lot of Draven, a lot of Kog'Maw. Some Tristana in there, whereas Martin kind of came up onto the scene when Sivir was really big and seemed to be this utility AD carry identity. I think he's now more so fallen into kind of the janitorial role.
I'd say so.
But for whatever reason, you know, maybe he's more comfortable with Jiezou, maybe he's more comfortable with SofM. The team changing over, putting more responsibility on him, and his KDA speaks for it that Martin has definitely been stepping up.
Most certainly has. We saw off the back of that as well, the inhibitor turret did fall down towards the top side of the map. Frandre now working on this inner turret on the bottom side. Martin going to help out with SofM. That one is not going to be long for the world. And the mid lane inhibitor turret is very low. He's going to be regenning slowly over time, and that wave has been pushed back by WE, but Snake now setting up the siege. Not going to continue. So the pings are now out, and Snake grouping up as 5. Want to brute force this turret. Nope. SofM, the only one with that idea.
Needs the creeps. They really want to brute force an inhibitor. They do have that open top inhib like you were talking about, but there they go. They've got the creep wave. They want to take this down before it can respawn.
They don't need very much time. They
Watch.
will have Baron up creeps there as well, as Frandre probably wants to start an engagement. He's got a Guardian Angel. This is huge, as there's the Mantrad E. Nice arrow lands onto Frandre, but he's so tanky. Mystic's throwing arrow after arrow into him, and he's just not taking any damage. Condi kicks back SofM. Are they going to be able to lock down the Nidalee? Nice shield comes out. He's still alive as Jiezou heals himself up. Xiye right in the back line, able to get some work done. Dash Cannon comes in, but they focus him out. You can see SofM just being such a cheeky kitty. My God, Xiye is going to come out of his Zhonya's, will fall down. That is 2 for 1 now. The support traded for jungler and mid laner. WE are going to lose the first inhib of the game. Snake can move up and take that free inhibitor as the teleport's coming in. Frandre makes his way right back into the fray. And these Nexus turrets are falling down. Second Nexus turret is going to go next as SofM still so healthy. 957 is going to fall as Martin has so much damage. The pounce out of SofM. This guy is on a tear today. As Mystic now takes a spear to the head. The Nexus is going to be the next to fall, and Snake with a decisive victory over WE.
All led at the helm by the likes of SofM. Goes for the Lee Sin, picks up the Nidalee, and closes out the back half of the series in aggressive and oppressive style.
Yeah, really beautiful play out of Snake, and I honestly feel like that was more of a team effort. I mean, SofM was just taking away as much jungle as he possibly could, kept Condi down for a very long time, as the players are going to shake hands. But honestly, everyone stepped up on the side of Snake that game.
Most importantly, Snake's team fighting. Although this is very uncharacteristic from Team WE to fumble late game 5v5s like that. Xiye,
yeah, and late game decision making as well with those Barons.
Yeah, constantly going super deep and not having any follow-up, but very well-deserved bow from Snake because both